All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. We are the Product Success Team. I am Lex.
And I'm Rodney.
Regarding today's session, we will be going over how to use Kiosk for Aldelo Express on iPads. If you have any questions during this presentation, we ask that you keep them related to the topic and that you ask them in the chat. We will monitor and answer your questions accordingly. Again, please keep your questions related to the topic at hand. Otherwise, we will open up the floor for questions as we transition and at the end of the demonstration. Okay, so why use Kiosk? It's a one-time investment fee. It takes place of an employee, so you don't have to pay the kiosk. You just have to purchase the iPad once. It's reliable. We're at the time where a lot of people don't want to work. You can operate with minimal staff. It never complains, so you'll never have a kiosk call in sick. It is flexible. It has 3 different modes. It has menu mode, table side, and counter. It's convenient. Customers have a choice of waiting in line or paying at the kiosk station. And it also offers free advertising. So it displays photos and videos when kiosk is on idle. Okay, so it's easy to set up. All you need are additional iPads. So an iPad mini, an iPad Air, and iPad Pro will work. It will not work on Android tablets. You do need to download Aldelo Kiosk from the App Store. And there are 2 ways of activating the device. The first way is Fast Activate, which scans the QR code, and you'll use the Aldelo Express application on another iPad. And Manual Activate, which uses email or phone number to log in. Customize functions. So there are 3 modes in Kiosk, which we'll be going over on the next couple of slides. Okay, so the first mode is menu mode. It is an electronic menu. The servers can take place of an order. If the customers would like to view the items, they can view them from the kiosk, or you can leave the iPad with the customer and submit the order. It'll notify the staff via Express devices. The kiosk will potentially replace the paper menu. This is beneficial if the menu changes. For example, there are prices that you want to change and add or remove items from the menu, then the paper menu is obsolete. There are no payment options in menu mode. You do need to pay from the station. So the next option is table side. Table side is pre-selected by the store. You can also enable single ticket multi-sessioning order. This allows to send items to the kitchen and pay for the order later. Customers don't need to wait for the server. They can just add items and submit to the kitchen. It has minimal contact with the server. If the payment device or customer has Mesa Plus payment enabled, so for example, Mesa Gift, Mesa Rewards, credit cards enabled, then the customers can pay directly from the kiosk. And the last mode is counter. Counter is your traditional kiosk. It's normally stationed near the front of the counter. It can be used for both dine-in and takeout. And you can also enable table tent numbers for the counter as well.
All right, so what you see here is the kiosk just downloaded or non-activated. As you can see, you can use the fast activate or the manual activate. I'll go ahead and use the manual activate because we do often use the fast activate, but we don't really go over the manual activate. So I'll go ahead and log in here. Actually, let me fix that. Might have to redo the password here. Or maybe fix the email there. Once you log in, you just select your store, and then you select an employee. You can assign a specific employee, or if you want to set an arbitrary user, like we have here, the kiosk station. We set it as kiosk station, and you do have to define a device number. I'll go ahead and set it to 118 here. And at this point, this is where you can actually assign a payment device. So if you will attach a payment device next to the kiosk, you can assign it at this point. Otherwise, if the device is not present yet or not up on the network, you can go ahead and bypass this. So we'll show you how to add the device while the device is already activated. And it does take a while to actually get in here, so it will take a few seconds here as it downloads the data. But yeah, we just wanted to show you the manual activation at this point here. Okay. All right, so now we have the kiosk up and loaded here. You'll see on the upper right, there is the button to inquire the gift and reward balances. And in the bottom right is the button to start, although you can just tap on the screen to start an order there. And then on the bottom left, you will see 3 different language options. So right now it is defaulted to English. If I tap on Spanish, you will see the button at the bottom right now change to Spanish. And if I chose Chinese, you'll see the Chinese characters there. One thing to note is if you go into the settings, while the language is set to a specific language other than English, these settings will reflect in that language as well. So we do want to change it back to English before we go into the settings. All right, so to access the settings, you want to 3-finger tap the screen and enter your code. All right, so you'll have options here to start a new order, go into the settings, or close the station. So you can manually close and open the station, but you can see right below it says the next auto close time is 11:30. We have it scheduled, and you can set up the schedule in the settings. So, but we'll go ahead and access the settings now by tapping on Device Config. All right, so the first thing you're going to see here is the Show Welcome Screen Media. This is where you can add pictures and videos. You can add up to 6 pictures and 6 videos. And as long as there's a blue check on the upper right, this picture will be available. So if I tap on the check to remove it, that will no longer be used, but I'll go ahead and leave that on. Next is the languages. So there are a maximum of 3 languages that will show up on the idle screen. So if I try to choose French here, I cannot, even though I'm tapping on it, I can't select it. I do have to deselect one of the other chosen ones and then choose that language. So there is a maximum of 3. And one thing to note as well, the only languages that are supported at this time are English, Spanish, and Chinese. And also, if the item does have an alternate name built into the item on the actual menu there, you can change it to include that if the item is set up as such. All right, next is the order types. So there's dine-in and takeout. So depending on how they're using the kiosk, they can define which order types are available. And typically the menu and the table side are strictly dine-in. Or the menu and the table side are primarily used for dine-in. Table side is strictly dine-in, but Menu can also be used for takeout, so they can set up for both. And the counter mode can also be dine-in or takeout, but if they wanted to set it specifically for a certain order type, they can. All right, and then the show call staff. This icon, if this is selected, you'll see there's a check mark there. This icon will be present in the menu setup. This icon will be present in the menu. They can tap on that and summon the staff if assistance is needed. Okay, then the next is the enable customer name prompt. So when submitting an order, it will prompt for a name. There are certain modes you don't need to use this for, so they want to customize it properly there. All right, and next is the show auto exit counter. You'll see it's set to 15 seconds. I'll go ahead and set this to a lower time, so when we actually go into the menu, and this only works under the counter mode there, that if the screen is inactive for 5 seconds in this case, it will prompt the user if they want to continue ordering or discontinue. There's another timer after that. If that time expires, it'll go ahead and just clear out the order. Because there are certain cases where someone can touch a screen, play around with it without the intent of actually pushing an order through. This will delete the order and bring you back into the idle page there. Right, the next is the kiosk theme. This is just setting a different color theme there. So you'll see that there's 4 options. We have it under blue right now. So this is all about a preference. And then the last of the settings is the show config menu. That's the cog. If this cog is present on the menu, even though an order is being pushed through, there are items pushed through the cart. If settings need to be changed in the middle of that, you can still access the settings while in an active order. All right, next is the order entry. So this button here, the circle with the eye in the middle, that's the order information button. As long as an item is set up in the cloud to have a description, this icon will be present, and this can be selected to pull up the description of an item. And then the modifier action prompts, they can totally disable all modifier actions from the kiosk by selecting no here. Or if they want to customize which are available, they can disable some of these modifier actions here. So next is the order list. So once the order is submitted, they review their order. They can select which data will show up on the screen there. They can remove all of this to minimize what shows up on the screen, or customize which information they want to show. All right, and then the next is the payment. So from the show credit down to the show Mesa Fast Pay, these will be the different tenders that can be chosen when closing out the order. So these can be customized as well. Obviously, if the customer does not have Mesa, they can disable all the Mesa tenders there. Or let's say they don't have a payment device attached to the kiosk, they can disable the credit card options. Okay, and then they can show the gratuity and then customize whether that no tip button will show up instead of the custom tip button there. Then after that, the next 4 options are once the order has been approved, if they want to enable the screen signature, and then the different receipt options there. All right, and then we'll get into the kiosk device here. This is the last portion of the settings here. As you recall, when we activated the device, we attach an employee to the kiosk. So when the orders go through, it'll go under that employee's, then the device number there, and then the modes. We'll actually skip over this for now, go into the rest of the settings, and then we'll show you the different modes there. Now, as I mentioned, if you did not attach the payment device during the activation, you can always attach it after the fact by going into the payment device. Or also, if that payment device needs to be replaced or changed, they can go into the settings and change that payment device there. And then receipt printer, if there will be a printer tied to the kiosk, you can define that there. And then it will show which is the print server. If they wanted to add a weigh scale next to the kiosk, they can do that. And then the kiosk cashier device. So this is where all the transactions will be recorded, which the bank that the transactions will be recorded under. So the cashier does have to be logged in under that device 19. And I've already enabled that on my other device there. Then the next options are the auto print kitchen bar packing, even if order is not settled. Now, depending on the mode the kiosk is running under, you may want to disable this. If it is being used under the counter mode, children can tap on the screen and push an order through without the intent of actually ordering. If this is enabled, it'll print to the kitchen. The kitchen staff will make the order, and then that order will go to waste. So they want to make sure that they set up these settings according to which mode they select there. And also that there is that option to print out the guest check prior to the order being settled. And then this is where we mentioned earlier, we do have a schedule for the kiosk. So you can set a time there and set a schedule. If they want to turn off the operating schedule, they can turn that off there and just manually open and close from when they access the manager settings there. And the show lane close media, this is where they can add pictures to let the customers know that the kiosk is not active there. You'll see I have pictures here. And then the last option is the media picture message display. So this is the time interval in which the pictures transition from one to the next. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go back into the modes here. So right now you see the mode is under counter. We're going to go ahead and actually start with menu. All right, so the table selection option, when the server brings the customer to their table, if they do have Mesa and are able to generate a QR, they can go ahead and scan the table when they bring the customers to the table, or they can just choose a table number. So we'll do select table here, and then the order confirmation required. Now they want to enable this if they are going to be leaving the iPad with the customers as they submit their order, so it will notify the express device once the order has been completed. I'll go and choose yes here. And then we'll go ahead and scroll to the very top here. So typically order types for the menu option are typically dine-in. You can leave it as dine-in and takeout, but we'll just leave it strictly for dine-in. And we'll tap the back button on the upper left to bring us back, and you'll see this message pop up here, letting you know that payment options are not available for the digital menu mode. All right, so I'll go ahead and touch the screen, and then it will prompt to choose a table. All right, so I can choose a table in the banquet room, and it will open up the menu. Now, as I mentioned, there is on the upper left, these are the buttons that we have enabled, the setting button, or the show config menu, or the config menu cog here. So I can put some orders in. And you'll see I have an item in the cart here. I can go back into the settings. And if I need to make a change, like adjusting some of the modifier action prompts, I can do that. And when I hit back, it takes us back into the menu, and I'll still have that item in the cart. If this button was not present, if I hit the back button, it'll cancel the entire order. All right, and then the call staff option. So if I tapped on this, it will send a notification to the Express device that table service is requested, and it'll show the table number, which is here BQ1. All right, so now I'll put a couple more items in. Okay, so I do have some items in the cart. You'll see I have a fried zucchini there. That fried zucchini does have the order information button. I can tap on that to view the description there. And this is all defined on the cloud, as I mentioned earlier, and you will have an option to add that to the cart. But we'll go ahead and proceed and tap on the cart on the upper right. So that takes us into the order preview, and all this information does show. So this has all of the options. I can disable, if you can take a mental note, I can disable all of the other options there by going into the settings. So this is under the order list. If I disable all of these here and go back, you'll see that there's minimal information on this screen. Right, so I'll go ahead and submit order. Right, and then in order to confirm the order, they do have to tap on call staff here. And that sends a notification to the Express device again. Once the staff receives the notification, they'll go to the table and grab the iPad, tap on staff login, enter their code, and then confirm the order on the upper right there. And one thing to note as well, as I mentioned, when the orders go through, they go through under the kiosk device user. Under this feature here, where the staff confirms the order will be transferred to whomever enters their access code. So instead of going through the kiosk device user, it went under my user there. All right, so the next option, we'll go back into the settings here. I'll go and disable this customer prompt here for now. But the next option is the table side. Okay, so we'll go table side here. And we do have to define a table number because this device will be tied to that table. Okay, then you have an option for single ticket multi-session ordering. This will allow the customer to push orders through repeatedly without the order closing out. If this is turned off, once they submit, the order closes, and they would either pay individually or complete multiple orders there. I'll go ahead and turn this on. And as I mentioned, the table side is primarily or strictly used for dine-in. So we'll make sure to leave that as dine-in and go back. So now the kiosk is under the table side mode. We'll just tap on the screen here. It's under table side. I'll put some items through again. Put that in. So let's say they grab an appetizer and a side. And if you notice, the kiosk having pictures added to all the items does enhance the menu there. You'll see if it does not have a picture tied, it doesn't look as attractive, and it doesn't help the customer have a visual of what the item will look like there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and go to the cart there. I'll be able to review. Now there's options at the top for send order and pay. If I tap send order, it'll send the order to the kitchen. but I'll be able to proceed and add more items. So I can add a pizza. And I'll go and add that in. So I'll go into the cart. You'll see the 2 previous items that were added in and pushed through already. And then the new item that's there, you'll see that you can add a quantity or just a quantity or remove it. We can send it through. And let's say they want to order an alcoholic beverage. Okay. Now, because this does have the flag to have staff confirm the order, I will need to scan the QR code, push that through. So I'll tap on pay to close this order out. And like I said, because you do have to confirm the order here, it's going to send a notification to the Express device. So the employee or the staff will bring the iPad to the table or to the kiosk. They'll pull up the scan QR option, scan the QR code, and confirm the order. So they can confirm or deny, make sure that they are of age. And once they confirm, it goes through. Now you'll get into your payment options. So you'll be able to see there's credit card, debit card, Mesa FastPay, Mesa eGift, Mesa Rewards, and pay at the register. I'll go ahead and pay with eGift. Okay. And before you actually scan, you do have to select a gratuity option. I'll go ahead and select no tip here. That's when it will bring up the camera. I can scan and it pays. So after the order goes through, I'll be able to sign and choose a receipt option there. Okay, so that is the table side mode. And after payment, it does send the order to the kitchen. Now the last option is the counter mode. So we'll set it to counter. And here you can set a requirement to prompt for a table tent number. Here you can set the option to prompt for a table tent number after the order is submitted. I'll go ahead and turn this on. Okay, and then I will also make some changes here. I'll change the order type for dine-in and takeout and prompt for a customer name there. All right, so I'll go ahead and push another order through here. And I'll choose takeout. Now we're under counter mode. You see there's a timer at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Set for 5 seconds. It will prompt this if there's no activity on the screen there. Now you can either, if the customer is still ordering, they can just tap on yes. Obviously, you do want to give more time, but just to bring up that feature a little quicker, we're turning that on for 5 seconds. All right, and we'll go ahead and push this through. All right, and we'll go and submit order. All right. We'll go ahead and do another payment option. We'll do gift again. choose the tip option. We'll do 10% here. Scan the QR. And you can also see here that you can scan reward or track rewards. So if they did have a rewards card, they can tap on track, scan it. And then I'll hit no receipt here. And you'll see it tracked rewards there if you saw that run across the screen there. And the order is pushed through. All right, so those are all three modes for the kiosk. So when we're ready to close out the device, we could 3-finger tap the screen. You can either let it go through the scheduled time there or close out the station. So the picture should show up saying that the station is closed. And that is the conclusion of this demonstration. Please let us know if you have any questions.